So the reason why learning karmic lessons or spiritual lessons is so difficult because we do not do the complete work. Suffering happens when we refuse to learn our lessons. Why are so many people suddenly awakening spiritually? Since 2012, there's been a massive shift in Mother Earth's frequency. Hanuman Chalisa is the mantra for energy protection. How can one raise their vibrations naturally? Law of manifestation and law of attraction has become so common because of the social media jargons, but no one really talks about the law. Even when you're thinking too much, your body is absorbing all the stress, all the negative thoughts. Spirituality, on the other side, is embodying what these gurus have actually taught us.
Meet Dr. Tamanna C. She has guided more than 1 lakh people on their spiritual journey. From workshops across 15 plus cities worldwide to best-selling books, her wisdom has inspired audiences across the globe. And now we're back with season 2 of All Things Spiritual with Dr. Tamanna C.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to All Things Spiritual. I am Dr. Tamanna C, karma coach, psychic, spiritual guide, and an author. But more than labels, I'm someone who has spent years listening to human pain, human confusion, human patterns, and the deeper karmic stories behind them. And honestly, after thousands of sessions, readings, workshops, and conversations, I realized something. Most people are not struggling because life is difficult. They are struggling because nobody taught them how to emotionally, energetically, and spiritually navigate life. Nobody teaches us how to let go, how to stop overthinking, how to heal from rejection, how to heal difficult relationships, how to understand karmic lessons, how to trust ourselves, how to move through fear, guilt, abandonment, betrayal, grief, loneliness without losing ourselves. And that's what this season 2 is all about. This season is raw, unfiltered, deeply human, and spiritual in a way that applies to real life. Every episode, I'll be answering the most asked questions I receive as a karma coach and psychic. Questions about relationships, healing, manifestations, soul lessons, emotional triggers, spirituality, karmic cycles, boundaries, purpose, and navigating everyday life. Not from a place of toxic positivity, but from truth, from awareness, and from lived experiences. So let's dive deep into episode 1 of season 2. But before we dive deeper, make sure you click on the subscribe button so that you're updated about all my new episodes coming. So let's answer the first question, which is the most commonly asked question. What is spirituality beyond social trends? Thanks to social media, that the entire definition of spirituality has been diluted. People think setting boundaries is spiritual. People think manifestation, breathwork is spiritual. Spirituality is a way of living. Spirituality is a way of doing everything that aligns with your soul. It's never about right or wrong. Spirituality is not about religion. Spirituality is also not finding a guru. Spirituality happens when you start listening to the voice of your soul and start using that voice of your soul in your day-to-day decision making, in your day-to-day activities, in your day-to-day choices of free will. When you start numbing from the voice of the world and you start paying attention to the voice of your soul, what your soul wants to communicate with you, what your soul needs to know, what your soul wants to tell you, that is spirituality in the true sense. Spirituality is nothing but living for the soul, by the soul, and in alignment with your soul. Moving to the next question. What is the difference between religion and spirituality? And I'm sure if you're walking the spiritual path, you would have definitely wondered the same. Religion is about practicing rituals. Religion is about practicing all those activities, all those philosophies that have been passed on or that has come through the idea of religion. Religion was formed by learnings of ascended masters, of gurus, of teachers. Every holy book holds a certain set of wisdom. When we follow certain activities, that makes us religious. The puja, the part, going to the mandir or going to the temple or following certain rituals, fasting on certain dates, lighting the agarbatti or incense sticks and doing havana pujas. That is being religious. Spirituality, on the other side, is embodying what these gurus have actually taught us. There's a difference between practicing activities versus embodying the higher teachings. And the mistake a lot of people make is that they think that just because they are doing activities that have been written in the holy book or that have been preached by these ascended masters or gurus, they become spiritual. One really needs to get down to the core and embody the lessons that come in all the holy inscriptions, be it the Bhagavad Gita, be it the Guru Granth Sahib, be it the Quran, be it the Bible. These holy books hold ample of wisdom. And when we actually start embodying this wisdom, that's when we start growing on the spiritual path. What is karma? Again, back in the day, karma was all about cause and effect. But right now, the world that we are living in, which I call is the 5D world or the fifth dimensional world, karma is not about cause and effect only. Karma is a sum totality of your intentions, actions, and your reactions. Before you take any action, your intent has to be right. Today, if your intent is wrong, but you could be doing the right action, it leads to negative karma because your intention is wrong. Sometimes your intention may be right, but if your action is wrong, that also leads to negative karma. Your action has to align with your intention. And thereafter comes the reaction. After our intent being right and our action being right, if our reaction to the other person is wrong, that is also counted as negative karma. The reaction here is also another word for the choices that we make, a choice of free will. The world that we live in right now, alongside karma, we also have our choices of free will, and that matters as much as karma does. So today your karma can be right, but if your choice of free will is wrong, there will be a negative effect. So karma, in simple words, is a totality between your intent, your action, and the reaction. Can people change their karma? Can karma be changed? Well, it's not a simple answer because karma is not linear. Karma is multidimensional. And karma cannot be changed, but it can be balanced or released. And what do I mean by that? So, for example, if it's in my karma to give Mr. A 10 rupees, can I negate that? Can I, change that? The answer is no. So either I can balance it or release it. Me balancing that karma is going back to Mr. A and giving him that 10 rupees. So when the energy exchange is, reversed or it's completed, that's called a balanced karma. Or if I choose that instead of giving Mr. A 10 rupees, I am okay to lose 10 rupees or I'm okay to pass that 10 rupees on to somebody else with whom I don't have a karma. That ways it's going out from my energetic account or balance, I'm releasing the karma. So again, can I change the karma? No, I have to lose that 10 rupees. The only way I can balance it or release it by giving it to Mr. A or by releasing it from my energy field in some way or the other. So to answer that, in simple words, karma cannot be changed. What are karmic lessons? Karmic lessons are those virtues that each soul has to learn in human form. You know, as humans, as the emotional beings that we are, as the mental beings that we are, there are 44 karmic lessons that we all need to learn, that we all need to master. Each karmic lesson holds a certain frequency, holds a certain virtue, holds a value of energetic charge. That when we master that lesson, it uplifts our vibrational frequency. And what happens with uplifted vibrational frequency? The more and more frequency you are at, the higher you vibrate, the stronger your soul vibrations get. And that leads to enlightenment, that leads to moksha. On a soul, the purpose of every soul is to vibrate so high to the frequency of the source, to the frequency of God, to the frequency of the universe. And in order to attain that frequency, we come back in human incarnation to learn these karmic lessons. And as easy it may sound to learn these karmic lessons, it isn't that easy. So, karmic lessons are those virtues that we all need to imbibe in human form that strengthens our mental and emotional immunity. Is suffering always karmic? No. When you delay learning your karmic lessons, when you delay in the release or balance of your karma, that leads to suffering. That resistance from a conscious or a negative programming leads to suffering. Karma does not equate to suffering. When we create a karmic blueprint, suffering is not a part of a karmic blueprint. Learning those karmic lessons are a part of karmic blueprint. Experiencing certain highs and lows are a part of a karmic blueprint. Suffering happens when we refuse to learn our lessons. Suffering happens when we delay in the giving and receiving of our karmic energy with people. So, suffering is not an essential part of our karmic journey. Why is learning spiritual lessons so difficult? Because the mind is always creating resistance. Like I said, there are 44 karmic lessons, and people usually work on those lessons on the physical level. But we as human beings, we as souls, are multidimensional beings. We are not just our mind or body. We are also our emotion. We are also our soul. And to master each and every lesson, we have to learn these lessons on the physical level, on the mental level, on the emotional level, and also on the spiritual level. Till the time we do not master these lessons on all these four levels, the lesson will keep showing up and you will keep attracting repeated patterns till the time you've not fully embodied it. Once you've embodied the lesson, even if the same situation show up, it will not catch your attention and it will not trigger you. So the reason why learning karmic lessons or spiritual lessons is so difficult because we do not do the complete work. We think learning it on level 1, level 2, we've done the work and we move on in life, and then boom, again life catches us to put us in difficult repeated situations so that we learn those lessons on the deeper level. Learning the lesson is one thing, but when the universe tests to see whether you've learned your lesson, it's also important to pass. Until the time you do not keep passing, the universe will keep testing you to see if you've learned the lesson. Why do repetitive patterns appear in our life? Repetitive patterns appear in our life because we do not learn our lessons. It's like a child in, say, 5th standard. If the child has not studied plus and minus, and when they sit for exam, Till the time they have not studied plus and minus, they will keep failing in their math exam. And even if the question paper in math keeps changing, every time there's a plus and minus question, they will fail. So that will lead to repetitive patterns. Once that child studies plus and minus, once that child gives the correct answer to the mathematic exams, they will graduate to the next level and break through the pattern. So repeated patterns are a sign that there's something that you're not learning, which you need to learn for your soul's growth. Why are so many people suddenly awakening spiritually? That's because since 2012, there's been a massive shift in Mother Earth's frequency. According to the Mayan calendar, the world was supposed to come to an end on 12/12/12, which is 12th of December 2012. But of course, it didn't come to an end. And it was not supposed to come to an end. It was basically a figure of speech. It was rhetorical, where it was an end of an energetic era. On 12th of December 2012, the Earth's axis shifted by a certain degree. And when that happened, the Earth entered the orbit of what we call the photon belt. Now, in our solar system, every planet affects a certain area of our life, and that science is what we call astrology. For example, Jupiter affects our abundance, or Venus affects our love life, our lifestyle, and all things luxury. Mercury controls our communication, and Mars controls our mental state. The moon controls our emotional state, so on and so forth. But there is nothing that controls the spiritual consciousness. It is the photon belt, the electromagnetic waves on the photon belt that have a direct impact on human consciousness. And on 12/12/12, when the Earth's orbit shifted, when the Earth's axis shifted, the energetic sphere that we've entered, that has brought in a massive shift in the human consciousness. And as we go deeper into the photon belt each year, our consciousness keeps getting stronger. And that is why all of a sudden the entire world is going through a spiritual awakening. This is the reason why more and more healers are coming to surface. This is the reason why more and more light workers are recognizing their gift. This is the reason why people are becoming a lot more consciousness, and people have started recognizing that there is something beyond science and there is something beyond what human mind can see. What are the different dimensions of human existence? So each and every human is made of 5 dimensions. The first dimension is the aura. The aura is the energetic space that surrounds your body. And whatever your sum totality of your energy is in your physical, mental, emotional, and your spiritual body, your aura becomes a mirror or a reflection to that. Then comes the physical body. This is your body in matter, from the tip of your head to the tip of your toes. Then comes the mind. It's all about your patterns. It's all about your thinking. It's all about your programming, how you process situations, how you perceive life. All your perceptions, judgments, thought process comes in the mind or the mental state. And then comes your emotional body, which is your heart state. How you emote, whatever your mind is processing, how does your heart respond or react to it? And then comes the spiritual body or the soul body. So these are the 5 dimensions of our human existence. We at any point are operating from these 5 dimensions. Even when you're not aware, your soul or your spiritual dimension is at work. Your emotional dimension is at work. Your auric dimension is at work. Even when you're thinking too much, your body is absorbing all the stress, all the negative thoughts. Emotionally, you're reacting and responding to the thoughts. And spiritually, also, your thoughts are being absorbed into the energy that is governed by your spiritual frequency. So every person exists on these 5 dimensions. Why are so many people emotionally uncomfortable during this consciousness shift? That's because people do not want to let go of negative programming. People do not want to see a new way of thinking. Any kind of transformation takes place when you start shedding the old. And in order to shed the old, you have to go through a complete change in your identity. You should be willing to adapt. You should be willing to let go all those negative belief systems programming, those conscious, unconscious programming that has been fed into you from childhood. All the judgments, all the projections that has been thrown on you, you need to let go of that. And only when you let go of that, only when you release that from all layers of your existence, transformation happens. The resistance to let go delays transformation. The day you let go of all the belief systems, patterns, opinions, judgments, projections that no longer serve your purpose, that's the day when transformation within you will take place. What does it mean when people say that the universe meets us at our energy? Again, this is according to the universal law of resonance and commonly known as law of attraction or law of manifestation. The universe does not give you what you keep saying throughout the day. I want a new car, I want a new job, I want the love of my life, I want to be in a good marriage, so on and so forth. If your energies are of scarcity, if you fear commitment, if you fear intimacy, if you fear taking responsibility, if you fear failure, the universe will resonate with that frequency that is inside of you, not of the frequency what you're verbally communicating to the universe. This is what the law of resonance is. And this is what I mean by the universe meeting you at the energy that you are. Law of manifestation and law of attraction has become so common because of the social media jargons, but no one really talks about the law of resonance. According to the law of resonance, you are going to get what you are. What you say does not matter, but the frequency that you hold behind what you say is what you are going to get. So be very mindful for what you're asking for, because if your frequency is not aligned and you're still operating from fear, scarcity, or any kind of phobia, the universe will meet you at your phobias and not what you truly desire. How does manifestation actually work? Well, that's exactly how manifestation works. By writing things 100 times a day and by repeating something like a parrot does not mean the universe will manifest. Because think about it. If that's how the law of manifestation works, no one would ever go to work. No one would ever go through problems. No one would ever suffer and no one would ever die. Everyone would be rich. So that's not how it works. For the law of manifestation to come true, you need to believe that you deserve what you're asking for. You need to be at the vibration of the abundance that you're asking for. You need to be at the vibration of success or money or wealth or luxury or the love that you're asking for. If you want a stable marriage, but emotionally you're fearful, if you have trust issues, if you're emotionally super volatile, if you're commitment phobic, you will not be able to attract a healthy partner or a healthy marriage or a relationship. If you want a job that pays you a lot, but deep inside you are suffering from low deservability, you have fear of responsibility, you are not disciplined, you procrastinate a lot, you have issues taking decisions or taking responsibility for the decisions, you are not going to get a job that's going to pay you well. So it is important that you uplift your energies to match the frequency or the energy of what you are manifesting, rather than waiting for some manifestation to come true in your life for them to uplift your vibrational frequency. Why do manifestations sometimes fail? Manifestations fail because there's an internal energy collapse. You keep asking for the same thing again and again and again on the physical level, but mentally and emotionally, you are programmed otherwise. You may want a loving partner, but if your childhood pattern or your childhood belief system is you don't deserve love, or you are not going to be loved and accepted the way you are, or you need to be a people pleaser in order to get love, there will be a collapse. If you want to make a lot of money, but you fear that once money comes in, you will not be able to sustain it, or you don't know how to make money, or you don't deserve money, that is an energetic collapse. And that's when manifestations fail. So, in order for manifestations to succeed, you need to stabilize your energies to the frequency of the thing that you're manifesting for. How can frequency influence external outcomes? Again, if your frequency is low, you will attract a lot of things, but everything that you attract, be it a job, be it a partner, be it your friends, be it work opportunities, that will also be of the low frequencies. If you're vibrating at a higher frequency, the quality of what you're attracting is also going to be of a higher quality. So, for example, if there are two people, one vibrating at a lower frequency, manifesting a job, and someone manifesting a job who's vibrating at a higher frequency, both will get a job. But the quality and the frequency of the job for both of them will be very different. The people that they work with, the quality of clients that they attract, the money that they make, the growth quality will be very different. So in life, universe will give you everything that you want based on your frequency. So whether you're a low frequency, whether you're a high frequency, you will get a job and you will make money and you will get a partner and you will get married, but the quality of those relationships, job, wealth will change according to the frequency of what you are holding. How can one raise their vibrations naturally? The only way to raise your vibrations naturally is becoming aware of your soul's frequency. Your soul inherently is vibrating at a higher frequency. It is our human mind, the projections, the subconscious belief systems, our emotions, fears, insecurities, anger, bitterness, pain that suppresses our high vibration of the soul and lowers the vibration of the soul. I always tell people that a soul's frequency is like a spring. And imagine every belief system that we've heard from our childhood, all our anger, pain, bitterness, judgment, projections, fears, insecurities that we hold towards ourselves or towards the world are more like a baggage that is suppressing the frequency of the soul. And once you heal and release that baggage, the soul will automatically jump to a higher frequency. So, deep inside, your natural state of higher consciousness is constantly vibrating at a higher frequency. You just need to learn how to align yourself to that frequency in your day to day life. And that can only happen with awareness and consciousness. Can anxiety and overthinking be connected to energetic imbalance? Absolutely. Anxiety and overthinking is a byproduct of you not learning three lessons. The first lesson is you tend to magnify problems. So, if you're one of those who are constantly thinking about the worst case scenario, preparing yourself for the worst thing, and thinking about things that have not even happened, you will always be anxious or stressed out. The second karmic lesson is detaching from other people's problems. If you're constantly getting attached to other people's problems and taking it on yourself that it is your responsibility to fix and heal and cure other people of their problems, that will also lead to anxiety and stress. And the third lesson is you need to learn to be flexible. If you're too rigid as a person, and what do I mean by that? When the reality doesn't match your expectations or what you think in your head, you will always be anxious or stressed out. Once you adapt to the reality outside, the anxiety and stress will go. So, if at all you're not learning these three lessons, you will always be a victim of anxiety and stress. Each and every situation in your life will cause anxiety or stress in some way or the other till the time you don't learn these three lessons. How can one distinguish from intuition or overthinking? Again, a very common question, a very beautiful and a deep one too, but the answer is very simple. Intuition is the voice of the soul. It's that gut. It just comes in that one flick of a moment. It does not stay. It just gives you the message and it's out of your head. It does not linger on in your head. Intuition does not cause insecurity or fear. Overthinking is when your mind gets stuck on one pattern and keeps replaying the same thing again and again and again. And that leads to any kind of stress or anxiety. That is your mind overthinking. Whenever there's an if and but involved, that is your mind overthinking. So, for example, say if you've got an intuition, say you've got an intuition that, oh, call this person up and this person will be able to help you. That is an intuition. But when your mind starts thinking about, oh, but if or what if, but I have not spoken to the person for so long, what if they don't help me? What if I come across as too needy? What if they think that I'm being, I'm using them? That is your mind overthinking. The first feeling is always the intuition. The if and but is your logical mind playing up or acting up, and that's what we call overthinking. Can consuming too much spiritual content create confusion? Absolutely, yes. Again, spirituality is not about how many things that you do, it's about doing one thing but connecting. Spirituality does not have to mean larger than life, it does not have to be loud, it can be subtle. It could be as subtle as sipping a cup of tea, listening to your mantra, and listening to your inner voice, asking your soul what you need to do today, what do you feel like doing today, and embodying that. Spirituality is not about meditating for hours or doing 100 workshops and getting certifications. Neither spirituality is about going to astrologers and psychics and healers. That is all occult. Spirituality is about listening to your voice and spending time with your soul. What are the simple grounding practices for beginners? Simple grounding practice. The first step is grounding your energies to Mother Earth. And what this looks like is closing your eyes and visualizing roots from your feet or your base of your spine moving into the center of Mother Earth and getting a grip on Mother Earth's core, feeling the gravitational pull and releasing all the energies that you do not need in that moment. So every evening when you come back from work, before you go to sleep, or whenever you think you need grounding, close your eyes and you can affirm, I am willing to release all unwanted energies, all negative energies, all lower vibrational frequencies, fears, insecurities that is not needed by me. I open myself to releasing this to the center of Mother Earth. And as you say these words, you visualize heavy, dense energies leaving your body and moving into the core of Mother Earth. Once you do this, you could take 2 minutes, you can take 5 minutes, you will know when to stop. And once you feel complete, just visualize yourself being covered in a ball of white light. So, this is a grounding technique. Another way of grounding your energies is breath work, the box breathing, or what I call 4 counts breath work, which is inhale 4 counts. So, you inhale 4 counts, you hold the breath for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhale 4 counts. and again hold before you inhale. So, this is called box breathing, and doing this about 4 times at any point just helps you align and ground your energies. What are the simple healing techniques people can practice without expensive courses? I would say grounding really works because grounding is a way to heal your day to day energies that is not needed by you. Another simple way for inner awareness for healing is journaling. People think journaling is, I think it's one of the most underrated techniques because I personally believe that you cannot heal knowing what is inside of you. So people think that a emotion is what needs healing, but when you dive deeper to the process of journaling, a lot other layers reveal, and that truly needs healing. So in order to first focus on healing, you really need to understand what needs to heal. And journaling is that practice that will bring to surface all that needs healing. So journaling is another beautiful way to kind of start your healing journey without really spending on expensive courses or going to expensive healers. What kind of daily spiritual routine is realistic and sustainable? Well, I personally, and I'm going to share with you my personal daily routine. Every morning when I wake up, I say the mantra. It could be Om Namah Shivaya 11 times a day or the Gayatri mantra. And I start my day with Hanuman Chalisa. Why Hanuman Chalisa now? Hanuman Chalisa is the mantra for energy protection. Now, let's understand why it is important to listen to it first thing in the morning. When we sleep, our subconscious mind is healing, our subconscious mind is releasing. We start releasing old vibrations, low vibrations, and we go through an energetic reset. And that is why sleep or good sleep is so important, because when you have a good night's rest, you are completely aligning and resetting your vibrations, resetting your frequencies. In the morning, when you wake up with a higher vibrational frequency than your previous day when you slept. Now, as we know scientifically that energy flows from a higher vibration to a lower vibration or a higher state to a lower state, when we don't protect our energies, the moment you interact with low energies or the moment you interact with humans around you, your family members, or you go to work and your energies are not protected, you will immediately feel drained out. You will immediately feel sapped out and you'll be like, oh my God, I just feel so drained out. That is why it is important in the morning that you listen to any mantra, specifically Hanuman Chalisa, or do the white light protection, because that will seal your high vibrational frequency after good night's rest. And then with that, you just set an intention for the day. So I use words like, may this day be blessed with ease, grace, and light. Ease, so that whatever I have to finish during the day happens with ease. Grace, so that divine grace is there in every action and everything that I do. And light, so whatever it is that I'm doing towards myself, whatever it is what I'm doing towards other people, it is blessed with the light of the highest frequency. So you can say these affirmations. Of course, at work, if at all you feel drained out, you feel tired, you can always go back to the energy protection. You can always do the grounding at work. In the night, after you finished your dinner, again, when you go to sleep, it is important that you listen to any calming mantra. It could be vibrational music, it could be any calming mantra, and doing the grounding technique. And I highly recommend a salt water bath before you sleep. It is important so that when you go to bed, you are not taking to bed all the energies that you've picked up externally. So when you have a salt water bath, you're dissolving any negativity, any negative energies, gray energies that you've picked up externally that is still stuck in your aura or your physical energy state. You are releasing that. So these can be simple day-to-day practices that can help you uplift your vibrational frequencies. And the last question for today's podcast is going to be, how can one trust divine timing during uncertainty? I personally believe that it is the law of nature that what goes up goes down and what goes down goes up. And time is also a part of nature. If your time is up, it will at some point go down. And today, if you're on the down, sooner or later you will reach a up. And it is during our lowest times we have to learn the lessons so that when the time is good and when we embody the lessons we've learned during our low times, we will get success, we will get results to all the abundance that is supposed to be coming our way, be it personally or professionally. So, all the lows are your way of cutting your karmas, of balancing your karmas. So, if at all you are struggling with a low period, if at all you're struggling with uncertainty, if at all you feel stuck or you feel extremely heavy right now, this is the universe's way of making you learn your lessons. And this is your soul choosing to cut your karmas through this low period so that when the time is positive again, you're not carrying this unfinished business with all the abundance. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to this podcast. Feel free to leave your comments. And if at all you have any questions, which is all things spiritual, please comment and I will be happy to answer that in my upcoming episodes. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and thank you so much for tuning in once again. Stay safe, stay blessed, and lots of love and light from me, Dr. Tamanna C.